Hi, my name is Serge Koenig. I work for Sauk County Conservation Department, and I've been working in that capacity for the past 27 years. Grazing is one of the big things that we really advocate for here in Sauk County. I find it very, very rewarding for my job, but I just get a kick out of watching landowners get in touch with this stuff again, get in touch with the natural world again, and helping them realize this is why I farm. I mean, I guess this is what drives me to farm, this lifestyle and this quiet. And so slowly what happens is people actually start selling their equipment, And if we look at, say, row crop agriculture, we'll just look at corn, for example, because corn is king. It just is. There's nothing, that's just the way it's been for years and years. And if you look at just the gross, how much they gross per acre, it's close to about $700 an acre. And when I run the numbers with producers and we go through their actual, what they're applying in their fields, and we plug that into a simple spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, that UW-Wisconsin had put together, it's very normal to get a profit of about $50 an acre planting corn. Now this year, corn is $6, $7 a bushel, but then the expenses were also high. And so we'll make a little bit this year, but then we lose or break even or make $50 an acre. And you get just a hit of dopamine every 10 years or so when corn prices go up. And it's kind of like going to the casino almost. It's like, oh, that was good. So you invest more in that, but maybe you forget all the times in between where it wasn't so good. And so part of it, again, if we grow 700, but we make 50. And so I think that comes out to like 7% of the gross you get to keep. With grazing, it's more than 7%. And it depends on the livestock that you're using and your markets and all of that, but it's not uncommon to keep 20% or more of the gross for yourself. And so that alone, I mean, it's just simple math like that. It's not perfect by any means. I'm not saying that's exactly what you're going to get if you switch over, and it depends. For some folks, it's closer to 40% that they get to keep of the gross. But it's not unheard of, and it's very common to keep 20 to 27% of what you're grossing. And so because of that, it's awfully valuable, and you don't have to gross this much when your expenses are this low. And so at the end of the day, it's about what did you get to keep? And so that's a mindset we're hoping to change, through conversations about finances and enterprise budgeting and all of that is, what are you keeping? And so as an example, there was a producer that I was working with, and I think, if I remember right, they were grossing $400,000, but when we added all the expenses, they made $41,000. And I thought, well, that's going to be interesting to top that with grazing. And so we just ran the scenario. Well, what if you did this? What if you did that and converted it? Where would you be? Well, I think he ended up grossing from $400,000 to $150,000, but profiting $70,000. So it's almost doubled. You don't have to make this when your expenses are this. What we want is the difference. And so that is a mindset that we're just so production oriented that I think I've heard it like, rarely is it that the most productive farm is the most profitable farm. It doesn't happen that often that way. So can you sacrifice production for the sake of profit? And if you can, well, it seems obvious which direction you may want to lean, and if that's a hard lean, then maybe the farming isn't your thing. Maybe we need to change course. Maybe you've lost the passion for it. Because I don't know if on one hand you can say, well, there ain't no money in farming, and then when you're faced with an opportunity to actually make some money in farming, you say, well, that's too much. I can't do that. I'm not interested in that. And so that tells me maybe it's time to get out of farming. I mean, that's what that tells me. And so just working through that then, like, okay, does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, should we go a different direction? If that doesn't make sense, should we, what is it that you want, you know? And so sometimes that involves some transformative change on yourself. That can be very fun, but scary at the same time. It's like jumping out of an airplane, perfectly good airplane with a parachute on your back. Why would I do that? That's scary. But if there's someone there guiding you, it's okay. There's a leap of faith for sure, but you're not doing it alone. And I think that's kind of our role as, you know, conservation professionals, is like helping guide people through that. And so slowly the job isn't really about conservation. It's really about working through the people stuff. It just always is. No matter how you slice it, it's always working through the people stuff. And when we approach it that way, just things work better. But the intent is obviously for environmental protection, but also attached with that is like sustainability of people, you know, and making sure our landscape, our people that manage our landscape are happy and viable and at peace with what they're doing and feel like they're part of the solution, you know, and not the problem. And so, well, that's a lot. Holy cow. That went a little deeper than I thought.
No, that was good. I think that might